So we're looking at how to create videos for courses or YouTube and how to edit in Adobe Premiere. And my name's Todd McLeod, and I'm one of the founders of Greater Commons and a teacher on Greater Commons. And if you've ever thought about teaching a course online, we'd love to help you share your passion and knowledge with the world. So we're going through a series here, and let me just open a new one of these windows. Can I do just Control N? Does that give me a new one? Sweet, it does. And go to my desktop. And so here is another one of the video files that we just recorded. So just doing a little file organization here. And this one is 003. And starting Premiere is what we covered, and importing clips and adjusting settings. All right, so that's kind of the third video that we just did. I'm just keeping all my videos organized, and you'll do this when you create your course, and it's also, I don't know, good practice even if you're just making videos for YouTube. Just keep it all organized. All right, so now we're going to edit in Adobe Premiere, and inside Adobe Premiere, I've brought in my clips, and I've brought this down to 50%, which was recorded at 4K, and our sequence here is set to HD, and I could see that if I click on that and just open this up, and I have to grab the left side. If I grab this side, it just kind of opens my tool panel. But I open this up, and I could see that this is set to 1920 by 1080. Sweet, and these are my source clips. That's the camera, and that's the desktop recording. And so now I'm going to turn on the instructor, and I can see the instructor there. I'll select this clip, and I'll just go straight up to this little icon here under Effect Controls with that clip selected, and I could hit that little square with those handles, and it brings up the handles out there, and I could bring this down and just position it and kind of, but maybe we'll start out with it big. So I'll do Control Z and just save it like that. And I could also change this to fit my screen right there, or just look at 25%. So the first thing we'll do is we'll start listening to this and seeing what it sounds like. And I want to be able to capture the audio on this video, so I'm going to see if I could go into settings of OBS while this is running and go into audio, and then desktop audio device is desktop audio, line in, speakers, Dell, Realtek digital output. And one more question for you, sir. Like, I want to be able to capture the audio, internal system audio, like if I'm playing a video on the computer. Is that Realtek digital output?
That would
Dell?
be...
Because I don't want it. Desktop audio device. Default, that's going to be our speakers. That's going to be like our speakers, right?
Yeah.
Our headphones. So just choose default. And this was... Okay, that should work. Let's hit apply.
You can test it as well.
How do you test it?
So once you go out of here, you have
Play
like
it and
area,
see if it's
and
going.
You start seeing if you can play any audio on the desktop.
All right, let's see
if it
what
captures.
happens. Yeah, so we're capturing it. Perfect. Cool, thank you. So there's Nancy setting up.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Good afternoon.
And I hope that
It's a pleasure.
There's a little bit of lag there coming through my headphones. So I'm going to now zoom in on this and just click on this timeline, click plus, plus, plus. And I need to synchronize the audio on these clips. So I select these two clips, and then I right-click them, and I'm going to choose Synchronize. So once again, this is going to synchronize the audio. You can see the audio was not synced, and that's why you do the clapboard. Look at these little marks right here and right here. So when I select all these tracks, just drag over them, and then right click and choose Synchronize, and I'm going to synchronize on audio. So I choose audio and track channel 1, fine, just hit OK, and now it's going to work, and then you'll see these line up. You ready? Here's the magic. And those all lined up. So that's amazing.
That's awesome.
And so now I could play this, and I won't hear that double talk because they're synchronized.
good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Cool. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to, this was the desktop audio right here. This is the desktop and the desktop audio. This is the camera. So I'm just going to mute what came from the Canon camera and just hear what it sounds like from the desktop.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I hope that you're going to be joining me in this series.
And now I could switch that, and I could see what's it sound like coming just from the camera. So I muted now the desktop right here.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I hope that...
So there's definitely a lot more white noise from the camera, but even here there's a little bit of fuzz in the background.
that you're going to be joining me in this series of hiring. You're probably watching...
But not much. That's pretty good.
I didn't realize it, but the fan was... There's a fan on the wall that's...
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I need to turn it off. I wasn't really aware of it
Yeah.
until actually I recorded everything and went, oh, I wonder if
Cool.
that... I didn't hear it when I played it back, and I thought, okay, so it's good. But I will turn it off.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. So we'll start right here at Good Afternoon, and your main editing tools will be this one right here, the razor tool, and this one right here, the selection tool. And so I just want to start this video right when she says Good Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So right there, and that's a nice smile. So I'll zoom in on that and get the razor tool, and the shortcut on that is C. You can see the C there, so I could just press C on my keyboard. I'm going to cut those two clips, and then to come back to the selection tool, the shortcut is V, so I could just press V on my keyboard or click right there. Now I could select those two clips and press delete on my keyboard. When I press delete, it deleted them. Now I'm going to hit the minus key on my keyboard, plus and minus, zooms me in on this timeline. I'm going to just minus, so make sure all those are selected and drag it against the wall so it starts out up here at the very beginning.
And you could actually do a fade in too.
Yeah, if you wanted to fade in, you could go to effects right here and go to video transitions. So I clicked right here to effects and then video transitions, and I could go to dissolve and dip to black. I don't know if there's a dip from black, but I guess you start out as black, so I could just do across dissolve and across dissolve right there, and then zoom in on that, and I could see those.
Good afternoon.
That was a little bit weird. So if I wanted to get rid of that, I'd just come right here, and since I'm not looking at the desktop yet, I could just kind of select this, but I need that audio. So I'm going to have to split that, and I'll right click this and choose unlink, and I could then grab this one, get rid of that cross dissolve by just clicking on it and then hitting delete on the keyboard, and then drag that one right there, and then I'm going to relink these so they don't become unsynchronized, and then I'm just going to link them again. So I right clicked and then link, and now play it.
Good afternoon.
So that's pretty good. And we could also add audio effects to the audio channel here. So a good audio effect, and we're still under effects here, is audio effects. And then just scroll down. And there's one at the very bottom, vocal enhancer. So before you start cutting up your audio, you want to do this right at the beginning. Otherwise, you'll have to add it to each of the individual clips from your cuts. If I just drop that on there, and you'll see it added vocal enhancer right there. And so now I could choose edit on vocal enhancer, and I could open this box up. It always starts out small, and I could see that the presets are female, and I could set that to female, and now it's going to do some audio enhancing to make her sound even more wonderfully female.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I hope that you're going to be joining me in this series.
Yeah, that fan is a little bit of a metallic sound to it, and so we might see if we
I
can
will turn that off.
clean that fan up. And to clean that fan up, there's like a noise remover. Shin, another question for you. What would you recommend for a filter for a fan in the background?
If you can de-hum it, that'd be fine, but most of the time it doesn't really help. So usually you want to find a section in the audio where it's just like pure silence with only that fan.
Okay.
And you want to EQ that hum out of the audio.
That sounds involved. We're going to go for the adaptive noise reduction. Sounds good. So let's slap that on and see what happens. So we have adaptive noise reduction, and we'll just listen to it.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today,
That's
and
better.
I hope that you're going to be joining me in this series of hiring. You're probably watching. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So you could hear it kind of faded out right there.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure.
So I'm going to just hit, I don't know if that's because my cursor was right there when I applied it, so applied it from there forward. So I'm going to undo it and hit Control Z, which is edit, undo, Control Z I'm just going to do that until I see this disappear. So now it disappeared. Now I'm going to put this playhead right at the beginning, and now I'm going to add it back on. And now let's see if that changed it and made it not fade out at the beginning.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today,
and so it still kind of had that fade out. So I might get rid of good afternoon because
good afternoon.
And just start on it's a pleasure. So do C, cut those, V, get rid of them, grab all this, minus sign on the keyboard, minus, bring it over, and then kind of come up and close my audio effects and go to video transitions and do cross dissolve and do cross dissolve. Oh, I don't want cross dissolve there. And then select this and unlink and then bring this one over and then relink. And I'm right clicking to get those, and now that should look nice.
It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I hope that you're going to be joining me in this series of hiring. You're probably watching this video because...
So now the process is to just watch the video and find what we want to edit. So that's what we're going to do now. And you could use J, K, and L on your keyboard. L plays it.
You've got a hiring process that's coming up,
and if you hit L twice, it plays it fast.
Or you are wanting to hire for a particular position, or you want to just brush up on your skills, or you want to learn a better way of hiring, or you're looking...
But also I should save my work at this point. So Control S, and I just saved it. And now I'm going to keep going.
Or to start a business, and you're looking for that perfect person, and you just want to do the hiring right. And I'm so glad that you're joining me. My name is Nancy Holland, and I have been teaching business law and human resource management for over 16 years. I have a master's degree in human resource management, and I've been a manager for almost...
So I like potentially, that intro was good, but also just starting at Nancy Holland. My name is Nancy Holland is also good. So I kind of want to listen to that beginning again and see if that's keepable material, because it is good material.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I hope that you're going to be joining me in this series of hiring. You're probably watching this video because you have got a hiring process that's coming up, or you are wanting to hire for a particular position, or you want to just brush up on your skills, or you want to learn a better way of hiring, or you're looking for to start a business, and you're looking for that perfect person, and you just want to do the hiring right. And I'm so glad that you're joining me. My name is Nancy Holland, and
so I like it from you're probably watching.
It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I hope that you're going to be joining me in this series of hiring. You're probably watching this.
So like this is nice right here, I think. Because sometimes you have to do a little pre-roll talking just to get your mojo flowing.
Yes, and
then
what I was doing.
You just chop that pre-roll off, And so we could just start it right here and see what that looks like.
That's
so
great
we'll just
because,
get rid of that.
Okay.
And, this is like the first thing, and so we want to make it kind of really grab people.
You're probably watching this video because you have got a hiring process that's coming up, or you are wanting to hire for a particular position, or you want to just brush up on your skills, or you want to learn.
And so you could even get down to the granular with like this We could come in here and we could say, well, what happens if we get rid of that And if you're thinking this is kind of involved, you don't have to do it to this level, but we're just kind of looking at how you could really kind of clean things up.
No, this is great.
And you'll see a little bit of a jump, but this is becoming increasingly acceptable in video production today, and people are getting used to it by watching YouTube videos.
Just saying, okay,
and it's a short enough jump that
it's not bad.
that you won't really notice a big body change,
Yeah.
because there's only like half a second, and I'm saying all the time, but in your initial trying to grab somebody, just making it on point, no pauses, no ums, makes it more engaging. So let's listen to that, see what happens, and watch the video while this goes to see if you would catch the jump.
You're probably watching this video because you have got a hiring process that's coming up, or you are wanting to hire for a particular position, or you want to just brush up on your skills, or you want to learn a better way. Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it might be a little bit better when it's produced. And we could just look at that. because you actually kind of close your mouth and then that ends up with your mouth open. So we might go for a little bit more of an open mouth right there and bring that over and then bring this in. And now we could use our left and right arrow keys to kind of see, like, that's closed mouth,
that's
but
really
then it's
close.
open.
Yeah.
So we could kind of get a little bit more open there and bring that over. Whoops, Control Z. And I want to just bring those over. And so now when you just click, you could do a rolling edit, and that just kind of took those away, just clicking. And so now I could arrow, and you know, the mouth looks pretty similar, and you don't even really notice those edits. Amazing, isn't it? You can't trust anything you watch anymore.
Position, or you want to just brush up on your skills, or you want to learn a better way of hiring,
The cross
or
dissolve
you're
can
looking
be used to further disguise the jump point if you wish. Set the cross dissolve to like 3 frames or something.
Yeah, and so my friend is just chiming in that you could do a cross dissolve right here and drop that on and then bring this down, and that will smooth out the jump a little bit. Just bring that down a little bit. And so we can see what that looks like with cross dissolve.
or you want to,
So it's not as,
or you want to just,
you just see a little blur.
or you want to just, or you want to just brush up on your skills, or you want to learn a better way of hiring, or you're looking for to start a business and you're looking for that perfect person and you just want to do the hiring right. And I'm so glad that you're joining me. My name is Nancy Holland, and
Awesome.
I've been teaching business law and human resource management for over 16 years. I have a master's degree in human resource management, and I've been a manager for almost 28 years.
So Nancy and I are high-fiving because I think she did a great job. That's very compelling.
Thank you.
Great work, Nancy.
I hope that the information that I have for you will be helpful.
And I've got to take a drink of water. The framing on this is also really nice.
Okay.
Like you're not too big, you're not too small, and the books in the background look great. I love the dog. you notice that, hey, this person's just at home.
Likes
Yeah.
likes Rottweilers.
Yeah. So this is awesome. What's your dog's name again?
Oh, that's Annie,
Yeah, that was crazy.
my shadow.
You've got like four
Yeah, we've got
Rottweilers.
4.
And when I went up to Nancy's house, she was like, very protective about bringing me in, making sure the dogs are up. And then at one point I opened the kitchen door and all the dogs ran in and surrounded me. And I thought, oh no, I'm about to get eaten. But they were friendly. Thank goodness. All right, let's keep watching.
And I hope that you'll be able to use it and utilize it. And so therefore, what I've done is tried to make these videos very, very easy for you, in a process that is simplistic and yet very comprehensive.
So I'm going to leave that because it's kind of like, we got over the first, the first 30 seconds of an impression. Like when you go on a date, when we were single or whatever, it's like the first 30 seconds, and you could be more relaxed, right? But they've done studies about how like that first 30 seconds, the first impression, it really matters. And now people are like, oh, okay, your credentials were wonderful.
Oh, thank
Nice
you.
credentials.
And so we're going to get started. We're going to first of all look at knowing the laws.
And so here I'm wondering, is she showing me material so I could
Yeah.
block her out? And so that's where the material comes up. And so right when she says get started, we want to show that.
Videos very, very easy for you, in a process that is simplistic and yet very comprehensive. And so we're going to get started. We're going to first of all look at knowing the law. And so we're going to get started.
So right there, I'm gonna just right about there maybe. I'll select this clip, which is the instructor clip, and again, if you change this to camera, you'll see desktop camera, and that will help you. And now I'm gonna come over here, and we're gonna do something called putting in keyframes, and we'll see all of our keyframes up here. And the word keyframes comes from back in the day at Disney Animation Studios. Disney, who's an amazingly talented cartoonist and created an entire industry from his ability to draw cartoons. He would draw like, this is where I want Mickey Mouse to start, and then at the end of this scene, this is where he's going to end up. And so those would be the key frames. And then he would give those to other cartoonists who worked for him, and they would then create all the frames in between to get the motion, and they were called tweeners.
In-betweeners.
In-betweeners is what they were called?
In-betweeners, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just got corrected. So I haven't heard this story, from any official source. I've just heard it hearsay. But Rob's chiming in saying they were called in-betweeners. And so that was how we got tweening, which is getting, going from one keyframe to another and having the motion filled in by some process. In the day at Disney, it was other cartoonists, other humans. And here, the computer's going to do it. And so we're going to create keyframes and say it's going to start here and end here, and then the computer will do all the figuring out to make it happen. So I'm going to turn on keyframes, and you turn it on by toggle animation for position and scale. And you'll notice the first keyframes got dropped. And now I'm going to play this for a moment.
Started. We're going to first of all look at knowing the laws.
And then I'm going to end it here. So I'm going to drop another keyframe. And so from this point forward, once you've turned on these keyframes, you just hit this add remove keyframe, and I could adjust these little dials down here if I want to zoom in a little bit on that so I could actually see. And I could use these arrows to jump between the keyframes. So that's where it starts out, and where it ends right there, and I got to have this blue line right over the middle of the keyframes. I'm going to hit this little deal right there, and I have, I applied those keyframes to this clip. This clip was selected, so now I'm going to hit this deal. And then grab those little corner handles and just resize this. And I'm going to bring that and just drop her up and get her out of the way. And in that way, having the instructor on screen throughout all of our evolution as humans, we communicated by seeing each other. And by being able to see your teacher, there's a tremendous amount of data that talks about the importance of the student-teacher relationship. And I'm sure you know this from your own experience. But when you like your teacher, you're going to learn better. I remember when I was at college and university, the instructors that I liked, I took extra classes of calculus because I liked the teacher. And then I wanted to do better.
That was the monk, right?
The monk of mathematics. I wanted to do better because I wanted him to, I don't know what that is, but it's like I want to show respect or something, senior teacher, being able to have that connection with another human is really important. So now we could look at this. We could hit this little arrow, go back to the beginning of the transition, and we could play it and we could watch it happen.
Yet very comprehensive.
And so, okay.
And so we're going to get started. We're going to first of all look at knowing the laws. Just an overview of the things that we're going to look at first in this section.
And so part of me thinks maybe have, there's a little bit awkward there. There's a little bit of a pause, but at the same time, why work too much for perfection? And there's part of me that would like a little bit more time of seeing this one, knowing the laws, before we jump on that one. So I might take this whole deal right here, and I could just zoom out a little bit, grab those two right there, and then I could just find a place where I think that should be.
Very, very easy for you, and a process that is simplistic and yet.
So I like that right here, because that was a little bit
very easy.
We'll start to draw people's mind away from what she's saying to something's changing on screen. So I'm just going to grab these and bring them over. There we go, and let's watch.
I had to make these videos very, very easy for you, and a process that is simplistic and yet very comprehensive. And so we're going to get started. We're going to first of all look at knowing the laws. Just an overview of the things that we're going to look at first in this section.
So I like that, having that a little bit earlier.
Yeah. In regards to learning the laws, we're going to be looking at the labor laws, we're going to be looking at state laws, and the EEOC, ADA laws, disparate impact, adverse impact, disparate treatment. We're going to look at BFOQ, which is bona fide occupational qualification.
What's that?
I actually said disparate
impact, and it's actually adverse impact, so I corrected myself.
Cool.
Just leave it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we could do is adverse impact, sometimes called disparate impact. Oh, disparate treatment. Okay. All right. So what we could also do is do a little zooming in on this.
First of all, look at knowing the laws. Just an overview of the things that we're going to look at first. In this section, in regards to learning the laws, we're going to be looking at the
So
labor laws.
Right here, maybe we'll zoom in.
In regards to learning the laws, we're going to be looking at
So I'll have this clip selected, which is my desktop. Go turn on keyframes, and then play forward,
the labor laws. We're going to be looking at state laws.
and then drop new keyframes. And I could zoom in to see those, you know. And now I'm going to add. Now I'm on these last keyframes here. I'm going to add this, and now I'm going to just give myself a little bit more room to work here. And I'm going to expand this, and I could zoom in till this gets to 100% with no pixelization, because that's recorded at 4K. And so I don't know why you just came down. That's about the right size. I don't know why you just came down in size right there. Where did you get so small? Oh, because I put you to this as opposed to the entire screen. So I need to come back to this one and go, which is your camera, and go back here. And so that's the camera. I'm at the first, and there, come back to the second, and zoom in. And you can see that that's that one, and I just want to grab this and make sure that you're in the corner. Because for whatever reason I didn't have you in the corner, I just had you on the outside of that black. So I can make you a little bit bigger, I think.
How about to do on you is goal, everything's 40%.
Cool. And then come to this one. And now that's good. And we can see those keyframes by clicking on that, and let's watch it.
the labor laws. We're going to be looking at state laws and the EEOC, ADA laws, disparate impact. That's where I screwed up, and I corrected myself.
Cool. And then I could add more keyframes. So this will be the starting point. And you can see this one goes to there, and then this arrow goes to there. And now I want to transition some.
Impact, adverse impact, disparate treatment. We're going to look at BFOQ, which is bona fide occupational qualification.
And so I could add in another one here, and I could move this up. I wonder if, oh, I got to click this, and then my arrow key. No, not moving me up. I need to go back to that time frame. I'm at that keyframe. That's the keyframe I want, and I'm just going to grab this. I wish there's a way to do it with your arrow key. I'm sure there is, because I don't want left-right movement. So now I just move those up a little bit. So now we can see what this looks like.
Impact, adverse impact, disparate treatment. We're going to look at BFOQ, which is bona fide occupational qualification. We're going to look at the EEOC.
So that's kind of cool. Just a little
That's
bit of,
really cool.
a little bit of movement keeps
yeah,
people's
it
eye.
looks like it's scrolling. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And at the very end of all of this, we're going to look at essentially a really good organization that I would really like for you to join, which is SHRM. So let's get started. First of all, you need to know a little bit about our...
And so then I could bring this back down. So desktop, drop in another keyframe.
I would really like for you to join, which is SHRM. So let's get started. First of all, you need to know a little...
And drop that keyframe. And then I'm just going to change this to 50%, 960 by 540. And then we need to maybe move you a little bit out of the way. make you a little bit smaller too. So we'll click on the camera, and we'll go to this one, and we'll go back to the same thing so they happen. Then click on the camera and drop a keyframe there, and then come back to the desktop and go to the last keyframe, and then come back to the camera and drop a keyframe there. And then on that one, we'll just change this a little bit and make you a little bit smaller so you can see that. And now we'll go back to the previous keyframe and we'll watch it all move.
I would really like for you to join, which is Sherm. So let's get started. First of all, you need to know a little bit about our labor laws, our labor codes, and where it comes from. Not that you need to know Title 29 or look it up or anything like that, but you need to know where it comes from. First of all, federal law, our labor code, U.S. code, is under something called Title 29. And that covers all of U.S. labor, employment law, hiring, firing, all of that is covered under something called Title 29. And that's important. If you ever have to cite Title 29 for whatever reason, I want you to know how to cite it properly. First of all, U.S. code is the first. Title 29 is where it is found for labor law. It always goes chapter, then subchapter, then section. So just so that you know, and I've got an example here, a brief example here of what that looks like. This is co-equal obligations of employees and their representatives and management to minimize labor disputes. If I was going to look that up,
Dear Lord, there's a lot to know.
What's that?
Dear Lord, there's a lot to know.
so that's what I would look up. Again, U.S. code, title, chapter, subchapter, section.
And so is that referring to U.S. code, title, chapter, subchapter, section?
Yeah.
So to illustrate that and draw people's eyes into it, we might come back to
Title 29. And that's important. If you ever have to cite Title 29 for whatever reason, I want you to know how to cite it properly. First of all, U.S. code.
and so
I love that. When I learned that on your, I had never seen that before, and I'm like, oh, this is great because I can.
Yeah.
I'm processing
Yeah.
it.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Watching videos fast. So my desktop here, I'm going to add another keyframe and then play it for a moment.
Is the first. Title 29 is where it is found for labor law.
And now I'm going to drop another keyframe, and we're going to zoom in, and we're going to change this to 100. We're coming all the way in. Let's see what it looks like. And then we'll just drag it down a little bit. And that way it really lets people see this. Boom, 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 boom,
Cool.
boom, boom. And let's watch that zoom happen.
Is the first. Title 29 is where it is found for labor law. It always goes chapter, then subchapter, then section. So just so that you know, and I've got an example here, a brief example here of what that looks like. This is co-equal obligations of employees and their representatives and management to minimize labor disputes. If I was going to look that up, though, that's what I would look up. Again, U.S. code, title, chapter, subchapter, section. Now,
And so now we're coming back to another slide, so I could come back a little bit, pushing J on my keyboard, and select the desktop, drop a keyframe, go for
section.
and then add another keyframe and just say back to 50 and back to 960 by what? 960 by what?
Oh, sorry, not 540.
540. There we go. And so now we could watch that.
Section. Now,
Nice.
the great thing about federal law is that states must follow federal law. So your state laws are
Federal law trumps state law, but what happens when Trump is making federal law?
directly in line with
I know.
federal
I
law.
thought, do I put Trump's? But that's what I always say. Way before Trump ever became president.
So that's where you really need to look at is your state laws. Federal law trumps state. State law cannot conflict with federal law at any time. EEOC follows federal law. So I wanted to also put that in there so that you would recognize EEOC. We're going to be looking at EEOC too. I'm from California, and if I was going to look up California law, this would be what's on your screen is Cal Chamber. This would be one of the resources that I would look at in regards to California employment law. Now, obviously, you're probably from another state, or you might be from California, but you might be from a state like Wyoming. So you would cover Wyoming laws, labor laws. So here's what I want you to do. Your first assignment, which is very, very simple, is to do a Google search of your state.
Great.
I want you to find your state, and it's going to, in fact, you can write, enter your state's name and then type employment laws. Now, what's going to come up is a series of Google searches. What I want you to do is look for credible websites for your state. So you can look for things like your Chamber of Commerce or your Department of Workforce Labor Services. And what I want you to do is to look up reputable sites.
So we'll just bring this assignment in a little bit more,
Okay.
make it a little bit bigger. So there's a lag in what we're seeing on screen just because the video processor on this computer could be bumped up a little bit.
Your assignment,
That's about right. So we'll just hit a boom, boom, drop the keyframe.
I want you to go to the corner of your screen.
And now hit this again and go back and then zoom in. And bring this down to 25% so I have some room to work. And one thing I'd recommend is using, Nancy, instead of PowerPoint, which is a 3:4 aspect ratio here, use Google Slides, which will give you the 16:9. So they'll fit on your screen and they'll get rid of this black. And you could just upload your PowerPoints to Google Drive and it'll convert them
Oh,
to
okay.
Google Slides. And then
Oh,
they
okay.
hopefully will be 16:9.
Actually, this is on Google.
Oh, is
Drive.
it?
Yeah.
I don't know why they
Yeah.
are 3:4.
I want you
For future ones, trying to get
Tweak
that
it.
rectangular look.
you to
Okay.
go to the
It's
corner
fine. It's a minor
of your
issue.
screen, and you'll see a little star. I want you to click on that star, and that's going to add it. It's going to bring up a little box, and it's going to add it to your favorites. Now, the reason why I want you to do this is we're going to build a series of resources for you. And when you're done, you're going to see that you're going to have a lot of resources at your fingertips. So as you go through this series, I want you to star those resources that are going to be valuable to you. So you can always come back to those resources, and you don't have to go back to the video. You can go to those resources and look up your state, your federal, whatever it happens to be. Any kinds of information that you need is going to be right there at your fingertips. And I hope this has been an enjoyable video for you, and let's move on to the next video.
Great.
Like it.
And then, yeah, wonderful job. And then we'll just finish it up. So I'll cut these tails off. And then that was with the razor tool, C on the keyboard. And then V, give me the selector again, select that. And then go to dissolve and cross dissolve that one. And cross dissolve this one. And let's see what the cross dissolve looks like.
Let's move on to the next video.
Now, I had
That's good.
a little example for those people who are not really used to, and showing them where that little star is.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that little.
Okay, I was wondering what that is. Yeah, do you want that on there?
I do.
Okay, so let's
I
select
wanted to
that.
show them. I wanted to kind of zoom in on that if that was possible.
Sure. And so when you talk about,
When on that last one, when they see
of
the
resources for you. And when you're done, you're going to see that you're going to have a lot of resources at
oh yeah, it's before that. Yeah.
Star, and that's going to add it. That's going to
That's
bring
what
up a
it's
little
talking
box.
about, the little box here.
I want you to go to the corner of your screen, and you'll see a little star.
so we'll just make this so it's a little bit smaller and then we'll change that. So to change this, I have to make sure I'm on the keyframe where I want it to end up, which is that one. And I've got the desktop selected, and I just go back to the editor and make it a little bit smaller and bring it up a little bit more. Now, is that enough for you?
Yeah, that's probably
Cool. And I
fine.
want to leave all this here
Yeah,
so
'cause
they
there's
can
the
read
star.
that.
Yeah, that's That's perfect.
And then your camera one, I'm going to come to that last keyframe. So, because I'm thinking this picture right here can be brought over a little bit, bring it up to 75%, 50% fit. And I'm on that keyframe for the camera and just seeing if I could hit this move and then bring you. It's hard to tell sometimes where it ends.
Where it ends.
But now I could see the white disappear, and there's a little white. Now it's gone. Just try to get you as much on. You're a little bit more space on the left than a right, so maybe center yourself just over a little bit more on the next ones, because it looks like that should have a little bit more space there. Just here's got that. This has got that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. Minor details. Cool. I think we're good. So now we're done with this one. We would just say File, Export, Media, and we'd come in here and we'd choose, make sure that we're H.264 is going to give us an MP4, and make sure it's coming out as 1920 by 1080, and we could hit Export and it'll dump it to this location wherever that is, the first one. And so that would be right, and we could export right to there. And so that's how we would export our video when we were done. So this was a long recording, but 41 minutes.
No.
Yeah, this is fine because it's for YouTube. What's
Was
no?
that 41 minutes?
Yeah, 41 minutes that we've been editing.
Oh, that we've been editing
Yeah.
for that. Okay.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
my video.
Yeah, not your
Okay.
video.
I can shrink that a bit.
No, we don't need it. This is YouTube. We got other stuff. but that's a nice thorough introduction to
Oh
editing
yeah. Oh
a
yeah.
course video with Premiere. And good work, Nancy.
Awesome. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.